Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Did you understand what was explained yesterday? Bayes theorem and Bayesian network. Today's class will study certainty factor theory. And this is another way of measuring uncertainty. We are learning a measure to to determine uncertainty through probability values. We started with the probability basics, then moved on to Bayes theorem, and the next method was Bayesian network. Now this fourth one is certainty factor theory, CF, and last one is Dempster-Shafer theory. So these are all four methods cover the probability theory with respect to artificial intelligence. This is also another way of measuring uncertainty. Certainty factor, CF, is based on the number of observations. In traditional probability theory, the sum of confidence for a relationship and against a relationship must add up to 1. If we say that the probability of getting an earthquake is 0.4, apparently the probability of not getting an earthquake is 1 minus 0.4, which is equal to 0.6. So total 0.4 plus 0.6 is equal to 1. The traditional probability theory and Bayes theorem also relies on this formula where the sum of the confidence of occurrence of earthquake and non-occurrence of earthquake, their sum should be equal to 1. They should add up to 1. In practical situations, it is often the case that we might say a positive thing, hmm, with some confidence, say C, and we may not be sure about the negative of it. An event will occur or not occur. Sometimes we are sure about the occurrence of the event, but we are totally unsure of non-occurrence of the event. We can't say that if occurrence is 0.8, it is 1 minus 0.8, which is 0.2. It is not the case in many practical situations. Uh, Therefore, a new kind of method, a theory, was devised in order to solve this kind of problem where you are sure about the occurrence of event or non-occurrence of event, and you are not sure about the other thing, whatever it may be. So the certainty factor is based on simplifying assumptions for creating confidence measures and for combining these confidences. What are the confidence measures? Confidence for and confidence against. Confidence for means that it would occur. Against means it may not occur. Is represented separately by measure of belief, MB, means confidence for, and measure of disbelief, that is MD, that is confidence against. Disbelief and belief. Now these are the two different measures, and these two measures constrain each other where a given piece of evidence is either for or against a particular hypothesis. Whatever is the hypothesis you make, for instance, if I continue with the same example of estimating whether a student pass exam or not. Now you see, what happens is, if we say that for sure, I have the confidence that student John would excel in his exam. Okay, that is confidence for, that is measure of belief. And yeah, and there is another student, say Tom, and I'm not sure uh, about whether he pass or not, but I am sure that he may not pass. Sometimes, we can say, oh, he will not pass his exam. So it is against a measure of disbelief. But there is a piece of evidence in order to come up with for or against confidence. There would be some evidence. What will be my evidence to say that John would pass with good grades? Maybe because in his last semester he obtained good grades, he is regular in this semester, and so on. That is the evidence. And what is the hypothesis? That he would pass with A plus grade. That is the hypothesis. So the MB means measure of belief of hypothesis and evidence is in the range 0 and 1. When it is 0 and 1, when evidence support fully, this evidence fully support hypothesis and hypothesis is true, it is 1. And if evidence fail to support the hypothesis, it is 0. For instance, a student gets a very good grade in last semester, but this semester, due to some reason, whatever it may be, he fails the exam. And the evidence that he passed with A plus last semester, I am, um, you know, uh, giving my confidence for that student that he would pass with A plus again. But then, if it if at that evidence, if he really pass, then it is 1. But if he does not pass, then that evidence of last semester grade fails to support the hypothesis, and in that case it is 0. MB of H comma E is 0. And similarly, MD, which is measure of disbelief, is in the range 0 comma 1, and it also state the same thing, that if it measures the extent to which the evidence E supports the negation. If evidence E support the negation, then it is 1, otherwise it is 0. These are the formulas for measure of belief. H comma E. 1 minus P of H means probability of hypothesis. 1 minus probability of hypothesis given evidence over 1 minus probability of hypothesis. This could be written as hypothesis given evidence minus P of H over 1 minus P of H, where P of H represents the probability of belief in hypothesis H, that is, it is true, and 1 minus P of H represents probability of disbelief of H without having any evidence. There is no evidence to say that he will fail. All right, but there is some probability of disbelief. Probability of hypothesis given E denotes the probability of belief in H after the knowledge of evidence E. And in order to avoid getting a negative value of belief, the definition could be modified to obtain a positive value of measure by using this formula. Measure of belief, hypothesis, evidence is 1. If probability of the hypothesis is 1, otherwise you are taking maximum. Why are you taking maximum? In order to avoid 0. whichever is greater, that value is taken. And MB takes the value in the range 0, 1. Measure of disbelief is similarly defined with MD H, E, P of H, which is probability of hypothesis. Probability of hypothesis given evidence for disbelief, and this is probability of hypothesis. Again, in order to, or alternatively, we can write this formula in this way. It is 1 if probability of hypothesis is 0. Means if it is negative. Measure of disbelief is about negative. Otherwise, this value. Using measure of belief and measure of disbelief, now certainty factor can be defined. What is certainty factor? Certainty factor is measure of belief minus measure of disbelief, and its range is between -1 to +1. Okay, this is the range, -1 to +1. This is certainty factor. It is greater or equal to -1, less than or equal to +1. How do you obtain that? When you subtract MD from MB. MD is measure of disbelief, MB is measure of belief. These properties satisfy these properties. These are the properties of this certainty factor. If hypothesis H is true, assuming there is an evidence E, MB H, E equal to 1. And measure of disbelief is 0. Certainty factor would be 1. If hypothesis H is not true, means negative, assuming evidence E, MB of H, E is 0, MD is 1, and certainty factor is -1. Because this is MB minus MD. 1 minus 0 is 1. 0 minus 1 is -1. The sum of certainty factor of belief and disbelief of hypothesis given evidence E is 0. When certainty factor H, E plus certainty factor not H, E is equals to 0. The sum of belief and disbelief for a hypothesis when evidence is 0. There is no evidence. Okay. In that case, certainty factor is 0. So certainty factor can be 0, -1, or 1. For computing certainty factor, the mechanism for handling the following 3 cases are listed here. Certainty factor when there are 2 evidences supporting a hypothesis. Hypothesis is John passed with A+ grade, and there are 2 evidences. In suppose he is in 5th semester. 2 evidences are that in 4th semester and in 3rd semester he got A+ grade. So it can be, assumed that H means the hypothesis is that he would pass now in 5th semester also with A+ grade. This is and it is called incrementally acquired evidence. Means there are 2 evidences. Certainty factor for combination of 2 hypotheses based on same evidence. Evidence is only 1, but there are 2 hypotheses. What are the 2 hypotheses? I can say that he passed the exam of 5th sem with A+ grade, and also John would be selected for an internship. So these are the 2 hypotheses. And there is one evidence that he obtained A+ in 4th semester. Certainty factor for chain rule. There will be a chain rule means there is like evidence 1, depend on evidence 2, depend on evidence 3, and so on. So this is sort of chain rule. The method for computing Certainty factor for the above mentioned cases are described here. Case 1. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So first case 1, it is incrementally acquired evidence means there are two evidence for one hypothesis. And here are the formulas. Measure of belief for hypothesis based on evidence 1 and evidence 2. It is 0 if measure of disbelief for this is 1. Okay. Otherwise, a measure of belief of a hypothesis for evidence 1 and evidence 2 into 1 minus measure of belief of hypothesis and evidence 1. Similarly, MD is defined as a hypothesis on two evidences. 0 if a measure of belief is 1. Otherwise, you have hypothesis evidence 1, hypothesis evidence 2, and 1 minus measure of disbelief of hypothesis on evidence 1. And certainty factor is written as certainty factor hypothesis E1 and E2, two evidences. Measure of belief on this hypothesis for both E1 and E2 minus E1 and measure of disbelief of hypothesis on both E1 and E2. There is an example. Suppose we make an initial observation E1 and that confirms our belief in H, where MB of H comma E1 equal to 0.4 and MD of H comma E1 is 0. All right. Consider the second observation E2 that says MB of E2 is 0.3 and MD of E2 is 0.1. Now we have to compute certainty factor of hypothesis given E1 and E2. The solution is MB of H E1 is 0.4, MD of H E1 is 0, and then CF confidence certainty factor of H on E1 is 0.4, and then the measure of belief with the combined observations you can give as MB of H comma E1 is 0.4, MB of H comma E2 is 0.3 into 1 minus MB of H comma E1. So what is this? This one would be 1 minus H comma E1 is MB of H comma E1 is 0.4. 1 minus 0.4 is equals to 0.6. 0.6 into 0.3 is equals to 1.18. So this one is this part and this is 0.4. When you add, this is 0.58. And similarly for MD, MD H comma E1, MD H comma E1 is 0 plus MD H comma E2 is 0.3 into 1 minus 0 is 1. This is 1 minus h comma e1. MD of h comma e1 is 0, which is equal to 1. So this is why we got 0.1. Yes, will you help me out? Why we got 0.1? Let me check this. This is MD of, oh, I took wrong value. This is not 0.3. This is here. MD of h comma e2 is 0.1. So 0.1 into 1 is 0.1. Now certainty factor is uh, measure of belief, which is 0.58, minus measure of disbelief, which is 0.1, is equals to 0.48. So the certainty factor is 0.48. Okay. Now, next case is there are two hypotheses based on same evidence, H1 and H2 based on E. For this, you don't have to do any computation or anything. You just have to take minimum of measure of belief, and for measure of disbelief, you have to take maximum. And certainty factor is measure of belief minus measure of disbelief. Example is, suppose we are given measure of belief to be h1 comma e equal to 0.4, h2 comma equal to 0.3, h1 comma equal to 0.1, and h2 comma equal to 0.2. We have to compute the certainty factor. What is the minimum for measuring the belief h1 and h2 on E? What is the minimum? Minimum is 0.3. Look at here, for AND it is minimum, for OR it is maximum, just vice versa. And for MD AND is maximum. This is MB H1 comma E. MB H1 comma E is 0.4. MB H2 comma E is 0.3. And minimum of this is 0.3. Here MD H1 comma E is 0.1. MD H2 comma E is 0.2, maximum is 0.2. And here for OR case, maximum is 0.4 and here minimum is 0.1. And certainty factor H comma even and E2 is 0.3 minus 0.2, which is 0.1. E1 or E2 0.4 minus 0.1, which is 0.3. The third one is the chain rule. Chain rule is like this: E1 depend on E2, which depends on H. Therefore, here the equation is measure of belief H comma E2 equal to measure of belief 1 H comma E2 into maximum of 0, whichever is the maximum, 0 or certainty factor of E2 comma E1. For measure of disbelief, this can be obtained. Measure of disbelief H comma E2, because this is H comma E2, H you are deriving from E2, which in turn is obtained from E1. So MD1 H comma E2 into minimum of 1 or E2 and E1, certainty factor of E2 and E1. Then certainty factor H comma E2 equal to measure of belief H comma E2 minus measure of disbelief H comma E2. Because H is directly obtained from E2. E2 in turn is derived from E1. All right. And that's it. That's it about certainty factor. And there is a certainty factor in Mycin. Mycin is an expert system. How certainty factor used in Mycin is that every clinical parameter was stored in Mycin along with the certainty factor, which reflects Mycin's belief that the value is correct. And certainty factor is a number lying between -1 and +1 that reflects the degree of belief in a hypothesis. And there are combining functions. Here you can just go through this part. It is whatever we discussed, same thing. Next is Dempster-Shafer theory. This is the last part in the probability theory. Dempster-Shafer theory was developed by A.P. Dempster and G. Shafer, and from their name, the theory name was given, which is Dempster-Shafer, in 1968 and in 1976. Actually, Dempster gave the theory in 1968. Later, it was extended by Shafer in 1976. It is a mathematical theory of belief functions, which is basically a generalization of the Bayesian theory of probability. Belief functions allow us to use base degrees of beliefs or confidence for one event on probabilities of related events, whereas Bayesian theory requires probabilities for each event. Okay, belief functions allow us to base degrees of belief or confidence for one event on probabilities of related events. And Bayesian theory requires probabilities for each event. These degrees of belief may or may not have mathematical properties of probabilities. Okay, whatever value you obtain, they do not have any mathematical properties of probabilities, whatever degree of belief is obtained. So the difference between them will depend on how closely two events are related. Dempster-Shafer degrees of belief resemble certainty factor. You can group these four probability concepts as two groups: Bayes theorem and Bayesian network as one group, and certainty factor theory and Dempster-Shafer theory as in another group. These two are related and these two are related. This Dempster-Shafer theory is more attractive because it is relatively flexible and based on two ideas. First idea is obtaining degrees of belief for one event from probabilities of related events. And second is obtaining a rule for combining such degrees of belief when they are based on independent items of evidence. Okay. Therefore, it may also be considered to be a theory of evidence based on belief functions. These are the two things in Dempster-Shafer. First one, obtaining the degree of belief for one event from probabilities of related events. And second rule is obtaining a rule for combining such degrees of beliefs when they are based on independent events of evidence. All right. And this is actually based on belief functions and plausible reasoning. Okay, this is known to be based on plausible reasoning. One minute. So, this is plausible reasoning. Students, we are studying probability. It is all about giving probability values to events for which we are not sure whether they really happen, means 100% sure, or they don't happen at all, means 0%. Instead of this 100 and 0, we are learning different strategies to specify the probability values for different events. It can be, and the value will be between 0 and 1. In Bayes theorem and Bayesian network, we looked at some equations and then we substituted the values in the equation to obtain the probability for a particular event. In certainty factor, we divided it into measure of belief, measure of disbelief, and we found measure of belief means we are for it, means we have some confidence that it will happen. That is measure of belief. Measure of disbelief means we feel that it will not happen, and then certainty factor will be MB minus MB. Coming to Dempster-Shafer theory, in this it is related to certainty factor and also it assigns degree of belief for one event. What is the one event? Let us take that next week, next time lockdown will not be extended. Suppose this is the event. What is the probability that lockdown will not be extended? Any this is one event. There can be any other event. Like, what is the probability that exams will be conducted in the month of July? So all this is probabilities. 1 minute, students. Okay, sorry, students, about that. So here, for any event, what is the degree of belief for one event? And it is obtained from the probabilities of related events. What are the related events? The related event for the lockdown to be extended or not to be extended is the number of COVID cases. If COVID cases are rising, then lockdown will be extended. If it is falling, then lockdown may not be extended. Okay, so those are related events. That is this one related event, another related event, and then we are combining uh, such degrees of beliefs when they are based on independent items of evidence. What are the items of evidence? There will be some evidence that if there is a lockdown during 10 to 2, during 10 to 2 cases are more. From 2 to next morning 6, not 10, 6, morning 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock, cases are little bit more. Here cases are little bit less. That is the evidence. Okay, people are following the guidelines or not. So based on the evidence, based on different events, it determines the probability. Let us take an example. There is a situation. Mary and John are friends. Okay, there is a John and there is Mary. They both are friends. Assume that probability of John's opinion about the reliability of Mary is 0.8. John believes Mary for 0.85%, means 85% of the time. Mary's reliability is 85%. What does it mean? It means that if Mary says that I got the news that lockdown is extending. So how much to believe? Your friends also, like your friend sends a WhatsApp forward. Hmm? Then how much percentage you believe on the forward or you believe on the friend? That reliability will be there, no? So that reliability is 85%. The probability of Mary being unreliable for John is 15%. Okay, 85% is reliable and 15% is unreliable. Now suppose Mary tells John that his car has been stolen. Okay, Mary calls and tells John that your car is stolen. John's belief on the truth of this statement is dependent on Mary's reliability. However, Mary being unreliable does not imply that the statement is false. Statement can be true or false. So her statement justifies 85% degree of belief because 85% Mary is reliable. That John car has been stolen. Okay, there is some kind of unreliability associated with Mary, but 85% of the time she is reliable. Therefore, what is assigned 0.85 probability is assigned to the news that is given by Mary to John. And John has no reason to believe that his car might not have been stolen. Okay, so the degree of belief that John's car is not stolen is 0. The 0 does not mean John is sure that his car is not stolen. As in the case of probability, 0 would imply that John is sure that his car is not stolen. The value 0.85 and 0 together constitute a belief function. John is sure that his car is not stolen. Okay. Even though Mary's reliability is 0.85 and Mary is informing John that his car is stolen, but John is assigning a value 0 to his belief that car is not stolen. So now these are the two values. These two together constitute the belief function. Further, John has another friend called Mike. There is another friend whose name is Mike. Mike's reliability is 0.9. Mike also tells, independent of Mary, Mike does not know that Mary has informed John that car has stolen. These two are independent events. Consider that Mike and Mary does not know each other. Mary informs John, later Mike also informs John. These two are independent events. That his car has been stolen. Now, both the events telling John that his car is stolen are independent. Now, these two are independent events. There are two events, and these two are independent. Now, how to arrive to the probability? The joint probability of these events is 0.765 because the reliability of Mary is 0.85, reliability of Mike is 0.9. So, when you multiply both, you get this value. The probability that neither is reliable is 0.15 and 0.1. This is neither is reliable. Now the probability that at least one is reliable is 1 minus this value. At least one can be believed because one has 0.85 probability, another has 0.9 probability. Okay. So when you compute their unreliability, it is coming to 0.015. And when you perform this subtraction, 1 minus 0.015, you obtain a value of 0.985. It means that this is the degree of belief, 0.985. And 98% is the belief that car might have been stolen. Because of this, all computations, we arrive to this probability value. Since both of them said the same thing, the degree of belief is 0.985. On the other hand, suppose Mary and Mike contradict each other. Mary says that John's car has been stolen, whereas Mike says that his car is not stolen. In that case, both of them cannot be correct. Hence, both cannot be reliable. All right? Do you understand? Either one of the two is reliable or neither is reliable. So here in Dempster-Shepherd theory, there is an event that has occurred. There are other two independent events. And if both of them say the same thing, and if both of them are highly reliable, then we get a high probability value, which is the degree of belief. And consider that both of them say two different things. In that case, one of them may be reliable or both may not be reliable. All right. Any doubt in this? Now, explanation of the situation is this is another scenario. Suppose that Mary and Mike tell John independently. Again, both of them. Suppose that you have two friends. One is a school friend, another one is a degree friend. They don't know each other. This is you. Your school friend says something, your degree friend says something. Suppose that school friend means you know that friend since a long time. You may assign a high probability value of 0.95. And degree friend is like you know him since 3-4 years. You assign perhaps 0.6 probability as a reliable value. If they both say something, these are the probabilities of their independent events, and whatever they inform, that is one event. So that event depends on these two reliability values. Okay, these two are independent values, and they in this scenario, Mary and Mike tell the John independently, separately. They don't know. They heard a burglar enter his house. A thief has entered his house. It is possible that both of them might have mistaken by the noise of a dog, or the degree of belief cannot be combined on the basis of their evidences directly by Dempster's rule. Because of this common uncertainty. However, if there is an explicit possibility of dogs present, then three independent items of evidence can be identified. These are the evidences for or against the presence of dog, Mary's reliability, and Mike's reliability. Suppose a dog has entered and they assume that if there is a thief that has come, but in actual it may be dog. So here the item, uh, the degree of belief, also referred to as mass, is represented by a belief function rather than Bayesian probability distribution. And then this belief function is formalized here. There is a universal set universe of discourse, means everything is included, all the hypotheses and propositions or statements under the consideration, that is denoted by this P of U power set of all possible subsets of U. And there is a empty set phi, and this PU power set will have a value 0 or 1, and this is called basic belief assignment, BBA function, and it satisfies two axioms. This M of phi is 0, and then when you sum M of A is equal to 1 for all A belong to P of U. What is M? Well, M is known as the basic probability assignment. Some basic probability you are assigning. And the quantity M of A is a measure of portion of the total belief committed exactly to A. If total belief is 0.8, for A, how much you are assigning? It may be perhaps 0.5. Because P of U has all hypotheses, propositions, or statements. A is one among them. Let us look at an example so that you get a clarity. Here, the original combination rule known as Dempster rule of combination is a generalization of Bayes rule. And this rule strongly emphasizes the agreement between multiple sources and ignores all the conflicting evidence. Okay, whatever, if both agree or not, that it checks. And it ignores conflicts. Assume there are two belief functions, M1 and M2. And they represent multiple sources of evidences for two different hypotheses. There are two hypotheses. Okay, and there are two functions. A comma B is subset of universal set U, such that M1 of A is not equal to 0 and M2 of B is not equal to 0. There is some probability which is not equal to 0. The Dempster's rule for combining these two belief functions generate a third function, M3. When you are combining M1 and M2, you obtain M3. And M3 for another hypothesis, let us say C. M3 of phi is 0. When if it does not have anything, it is always 0. Otherwise, it takes sum of A and B. A and B means common. Whatever is common between A and B, that one, whatever is the belief function value, that into belief function value of that. Divide by 1 minus sum of A and B is equals to 5. Means if nothing is common, what the values which are not common, if it is 5 means nothing is there, that whatever you are multiplying, 1 minus that. So the belief functions gives a new value when applied on set C. C is A and B. Okay, and the combination of two beliefs is called joint mass. M3 can be written as M1 O M2. And this expression is known as a normalization factor. It is a measure of the amount of conflict between the two mass set. This function will give you the conflict. This one would give the common values. And the normalization factor has the effect of completely ignoring conflict and attributing any mass associated with conflict to the null set. Let us look at this example because time is not there. Here, this A, B, C is a universal set. From A, we have A, B, A, C, B, C. These are subsets. And A, B, and A, C common is A. A, B, B, C common is B. A, C, uh, A, C, and B, C common is C. And then AC and AB common is A. A, B, C lead to phi set. Means nothing is there in that. Nothing is common in that. Look at this table, joint belief of M1 and M2. M1 of A comma B is 0.4. M1 of U means universal is 0.2. M2 is A comma C 0.6. B2 B comma C 0.8. And uh, these are some basic probability values. We learned that basic probability value will be assigned in the to M1 and M2. Here, joint probability is calculated. These are basic probabilities 0.4, 0.2, 0.6, 0.8, 0.4. What is common between this and this? It is A. So A means 0.6 into 0.4 is 0.24. Common between these two is B. So 8.8 into 0.4, which is 0.32. Common in these two is, because this is universal set, no? In universal everything is there. So common is AB. You multiply. Because this here it is given, no, you have to multiply if there is a common. Here for universal set, again whatever is common you determine and you multiply and you obtain the joint probability. Let us define two belief functions M1 and M2 based on the evidence of fever and headache. M1 flu measles 0.8, universal is 0.2, flu and cold is 0.6, universal is 0.4. How it is 1 minus 0.6 is 0.4. 1 minus 0.8 is 0.2. When it is combined, here combination of M1 and M2, 0.8, 0.2, here it is given 0.8, 0.2, 0.6, 0.4. And when you combine these two, flu measles, flu cold, flu is a common, multiply. And then universal flu measles means both common. Like that we arrive to this joint probabilities. Now suppose you are introducing another evidence which is sneezing. First, what are the two evidences that were introduced earlier? They were fever and headache. Okay, if fever and headache are there, then what are the possible options? Flu and measles, flu or cold. And suppose sneezing is also added. If sneezing is there, it will be cold cough. Okay, then here you see you get 8 different combinations. Cough, cold, and universal. And here these four are there from earlier example, and these two are added. So 4 into 2, 8. So 8 combinations you get, and then you take the common thing, and then you perform that. You apply that formula, substitute the values, and you obtain these probability values. If three symptoms are given, fever, headache, and sneezing, then it is flu. The probability is 0.3. All right. And then belief and plausibility. The term belief means support. Is denoted by BELA. Belief is the sum of all masses of subsets. When you uh, combine all this M of A, M of B, M of C, then that is belief. And then in Dempster theory, a belief interval can also be defined for subset A. It is represented as subinterval belief of A and PL, plausibility of A of 0, 1, where PL is called plausibility of A. And how do you define plausibility of A? Well, to define it, it is given here PL of A. Plausibility of A is sum of M of B. M is belief function value summing for all B such that B and A is not equal to 5. Means whatever is common. Not equal to 5 means there should be something common. All right. These are some other properties. Important results. Plausibility of A is greater or equal to belief of A, and it is like axiom kind of things. All right. So advantages of Dempster-Shafer framework is that prior and conditional probabilities need not be specified, unlike Bayesian. Bayesian method requires prior probabilities. Here it is not required, and you can assign that basic probability value, and then you can compute the final probability value. All right, students. So this is all about today's class. Any doubts? So attendance, let me take the attendance. Please read. I think these copies are available with you. No, this textbook copy is available with you. Today 42, 49, 50. Tomorrow we will begin. No, not tomorrow. Again, we have class on Monday. We will begin a new topic. Okay, students, please go through. If you have any doubt, ask me. Bye.